those na hindi makakasama today. So as I was saying, merong mga certain views na hindi for sure na kumbaga hindi pinapakita yung true 90 degrees ng angles na yun. Tama? And it's kung true in the real world, no, medyo madali lang natin ma-imagine siya because we have kumbaga yung eyes natin is meant to perceive depth. So medyo madali lang. Pero once we project it into a 2D space tulad ng ginagawa natin sa ES1, so pino-project natin on paper, hindi na as obvious as the yung example ko kanina, which is the right triangle. Hindi siya sobrang obvious. Okay? Lalo na pagka meron lang tayo kunwari ganito, 2 lines lang. So it appears 90 degrees dito, no, pero we are not quite certain if these 2 lines are indeed not foreshortened, no, or shown in their true length. Okay, so the way we determine this is fairly simple, no. Ang kailangan lang actually natin to determine if 2 lines are perpendicular to each other is the only requirement is that one of the lines appears in its true length. And hindi ko siya ipapakita kung bakit siya yan yung case, no. And you can try imagining this on your own. Take a natural na 90-degree na object, no, or an object that has a 90-degree angle, and try to fix one of the lines as a true length, no, meaning you are looking at it in a parallel view, and ikot-ikot nyo siya around that true length, and you'll notice na kahit anong foreshortening na nangyayari doon sa kabilang line, the true length will always, or kumbaga dahil naka-true length yung isang line, the right angle or the 90-degree angle will always hold is perpendicularity, no. Okay, so try natin siyang gawin dito. So if you look at this one, we have multiple lines, and we'll try to determine kung alin dito sa mga pairs of lines na to is perpendicular, no, to each other. So start with ano bang magandang start? Let's go with 1, 2, and AB lang muna. So if we have 1, 2, and AB, then let's first look at AB. No, AB here is parallel to the folding line HRP FRP. Therefore, dapat si AB dito is in its true length. Tama? And since it is in its true length, and the line 1, 2 appears perpendicular to AB, then therefore line 1, 2 is perpendicular to AB in this particular case, no. And regardless if dito hindi siya mukhang perpendicular, yung relationship nila is that they are perpendicular, no. And this is the difference between yung parang geometric na no, na or yung mathematical na definition ng perpendicularity versus how we define it in ES1, no? Because in mathematics required talaga na mag-intersect yung dalawa, no? Pero in ES1 okay lang sa atin na hindi actually magiging perpendicular yung 2 lines natin, no? So we have and maybe it's also convenient if I introduce the different na parang relationship between lines. But I've discussed this in the other video, no, na I'll link to you guys. But meron tayong certain relationship, no. So the first relationship is that we have parallel lines, no. So parallel lines is when your lines are not touching each other, no. So if you expand them to infinity, they will never touch each other, no. So those are parallel lines. And yung parallel lines na ito is that if you will draw ang defining feature is that kaya mong ilagay yung 2 lines na yon in a common plane, no, because there is another type of lines na hindi naman sila, or kahit i-extend mo, hindi rin magmi-meet with each other, pero hindi mo kayang ilagay in the same plane. Okay? So, to help you imagine, kunwari, mayroon 2 lines ka na ganito, na ganyan, and they are parallel in space. Tapos, kaya kong ilagay yung 2 lines na to in a particular plane, na kunwari ganyan. So, dito silang dalawa, kaya silang kumbaga mag-coexist in a particular plane, and we call them as coplanar na lines, no? Okay? So those are parallel lines. Now, there are certain lines na hindi nag-intersect, no? Pero, um, kumbaga, nag-ano pa rin, pwede pa rin silang maging uh, non-parallel lines. So, these are called skew lines, no? Okay? So, skew lines, they do not intersect one another. So, kahit i-extend natin to infinity, hindi sila mag-intersect. Pero, hindi sila pwedeng ilagay in a certain na plane, no? So, impossible sila malagay or impossible na gumawa ka ng lines that are, or gumawa ka ng plane that contains both of those lines. So, those are called skew lines. So, siguro, ang best way na ma-imagine siya is if you have, kunwari lang, this is PRP and this is, sorry, pinakamadaling imagination sa kanya is meron tayong, sorry, FRP, tapos this is PRP. Tapos imagine na may two lines ka dito, na pa ganyan. Mukha siyang parallel, pero dito sa view na to, nakaganyan sila. So, imagine parang dalawang pencils, ano? Or dalawang pens. So, hold up two pencils. Tapos, gawin nyo siya na in such a way na when you are looking at them straight on, parallel sila. Pero, i-twist nyo yung isang pen such that kung tinitingnan natin sa side view, parang nakaganito sila. So, if I were to parang rotate the view a little bit, no? Para siyang, nahirap na imagine, no? hindi ko maano dito, no? Ma-drawing. Siguro kaya ko ma-drawing to, no? So, something like ganyan. So, if I add a little bit of depth, no? Kaya ko siyang mapakita sa inyo. Okay? So, parang ganito. So, try to imagine two pens, no? Or two rods. So, itong rods na to, they seem to intersect, no? Pero if I view it so if I rotate the view, no? So, i-rotate ko to. Para ang lalabas is nakaganito yung two lines na to. Tama? So, na-imagine nyo ba siya? So, they are not parallel, no? Kasi hindi ko sila malalagay in a single plane. Pero, at the same time, hindi rin sila mag-intersect at all, no? Kasi kahit i-extend ko to, extend ko tong line na to, extend ko rin yung line na to, never silang mag-intersect. Kasi may parang gap sila in between dito. Okay? Kasi they are lines in space, no? So, those are skew lines. Okay? So, yung third is yung intersecting lines. So, intersecting lines, ito yung kaya mong ilagay yung two lines na to in a single plane, no? And that's how lines actually intersect, no? So, a line that, or if two lines cannot be placed in the same plane, then they will never intersect, no? Magiging skew lines lang talaga sila. Okay? So, the only way we can force the intersection of two lines is if kaya nating ilagay yung two lines na yon in a single plane. Okay? So those are intersecting lines, and the last one is your perpendicular lines. Now in classical geometry, no, perpendicular lines. In classical geometry, required na si perpendicular line is a intersecting line. So kailangan kaya nyo siyang ilagay in the same plane, tapos yung intersection nila forms a 90-degree angle. Okay? So kailangan 90 degrees yung intersection ng dalawa. So yun yung classical geometry. Pero in ES1, we often refer to perpendicular lines, or we often refer to lines despite them not intersecting as perpendicular lines as long as their relationship to each other is orthogonal, no, or perpendicular. Kumbaga, kaya natin silang ma-view as two lines na nagpo-form ng right angle. Okay? So, the way we can imagine that is, kunwari itong dalawang lines na to, posible na yung angle na fino-form nila if I were to bring them together, no? Kunwari, ito, ipupush ko to isang line papunta dyan such that mag-intersect na sila. If I force their intersection and tiningnan ko, kunwari, kung ano yung angle na na-form nila, para ganyan. Nilapit ko silang dalawa, tapos tiningnan ko, and if I see na yung relationship nila is 90 degrees, then I can say perpendicular sila despite them not being intersecting. No? Okay? So these are important because important kasi yung ganong concept of perpendicularity, no, because in some cases, especially kung MET-E kayo, there we will be dealing with a lot with vectors, no, and yung vectors kasi are expressed in directions, no. Tapos yung directions na yon can be perpendicular to each other without the two directions being without the two directions intersecting each other, because technically a vector, yung tinatawag natin na vector or a direction, is translatable, no? Meaning, pwede natin, as long as meron siyang general orientation, kunwari, ito yung vector natin. If it's in the 3D space, actually, pwede nating galaw-galawin itong direction, yung vector na to, no? As long as it maintains its orientation. For example, ito yung orientation niya. I won't go into the numbers dito, no? Pero let's just say na hindi ko gagalawin yung, kumbaga, if this was the XYZ, para may XYZ, meron siyang certain coordinates that reflect the start and end points. No? So kumbaga kahit i-translate ko sila or in a way, meron siyang angle from the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Okay? So meron siyang alpha, beta, and gamma. Hindi ko na maalala kung alin yung alpha, beta, gamma. Pero anyway, so when we talk about vectors and directions, they are translatable. No? So meaning itong line na to, kaya kong i-move around. So for example, if I move it upwards, kunwari pa ganyan, it will still have the same direction, kumbaga. Tama? Same direction pala. It's pointing towards this direction. Tapos, kahit tinranslate ko yan, it's still providing me with the same information. No? So that's why in ES1, mas convenient na we extend the definition of perpendicular lines even to vectors and directions. No? So, okay. So, hindi ko alam kung mas naging malinaw yung kung nadagdagan ko ba yung clarity about the subject or mas nalito kayo. So, I would understand kung medyo mas nalito kayo ngayon, no? Pero sana na ano naman, na nakuha niyo yung concept between the four relationships na to. Okay? So, may question pala si Shane. Is it okay na pag gumawa ng parallel lines na i-slide lang yung ruler? Yes, okay lang. Basta anything past geometric construction, pwede na tayong sliding ruler technique to draw the parallel lines and to draw the perpendicular lines. And I'm assuming that you mean in a certain view. Okay? So at this point class, no, gusto kong i-differentiate yung true parallelism and yung parang appears parallel to each other, no? So pagka in any time na sinabi kong appears parallel, kung appears parallel or appears perpendicular yung sinabi ko, I am referring to a particular view, no? So kunwari pag sinabi ko dito, line AB here appears perpendicular to line 1, 2. So in that sense, I'm only referring to the perpendicularity to its perpendicularity as viewed in HRP. But when I say truly parallel or truly perpendicular, then I am referring to their actual relationship in space. Okay? So hopefully malinaw yung usage natin ng language, no? Kasi nakakalito kasi pag sinabi ko kunwari these two lines are parallel to each other. Parallel ba or perpendicular? Or parallel siya, pero bakit sa other view hindi ko sinabing parallel? So kumbaga um, I have to make that distinction, no? Itong appears parallel and truly parallel, so that we have a good understanding kung what I'm talking about. Okay? So, ito, again, okay na tayo dito sa apat na relationship na to, no? So, we talk about perpendicular lines na. And ang sabi natin from the start is that for two lines to be perpendicular to each other, it must appear perpendicular in at least one view that shows one of the lines in its true length. Okay? So, yun yung only requirement niya. Kailangan in one particular view, one of the line is true length, tapos they appear perpendicular in that view. Okay? So usually when we do these kinds of things, no, usually we write proofs pag we are proving para parallelism and perpendicularity. And later doon sa sa pag view nyo yung video about parallelism, you'll also see na I will be writing proofs dito sa side na to, no. So it could be written anywhere, pero usually sinusulat lang siya sa empty space, no, na medyo maluwag. So for example, in this case, I like to write my proofs dito sa right hand side. Okay? So what I'll do here is I'll note that AB, which is a true length, is perpendicular to 1, 2 in, pula pala space ko ulit. I move to. In, in HRP. And therefore, AB is perpendicular to 1, 2. Okay? So you can write, minsan sinusulat din tong ganito, no, to indicate na segment siya. Pero sometimes hindi na rin, okay lang na i-omit tong parang bar on top mo. Pero ang interpretation dito sa proof na to is that I'm saying AB that appears true length in HRP, or AB which is true length in HRP appears to be perpendicular to line 1, 2 in the HRP view. Therefore, AB is truly perpendicular to 1, 2. Okay? So, yun yung yung para pagsulat natin ng proofs, no. So, let's try another one. Okay na tayo sa AB and 1, 2. Let's go for AB and XY. So, if you look at AB and XY, parang wala silang mahirap masabi. So, kasi AB here does not appear to be AB appears true length here, and it appears parallel to AB. Tama? AB is in true length, pero itong XY appears to be parallel to AB. Therefore, hindi sila perpendicular to each other, no? Because there is no case wherein or there is no additional view that will show to us na magiging perpendicular yung two lines na to. Okay? So isa din to sa no, parang ang tawag dito, consequence ng relationship na sinabi ko kanina, na or yung parang requirement na sinabi ko. Once na napakita nyo na in true length yung isa, tapos hindi siya perpendicular doon sa other line, then kahit ano pang view or manipulation yung gawin nyo, any additional view na gagawin nyo, you will never show those two lines as perpendicular to each other, no? Or you will never prove na perpendicular yung two lines na yun. Automatic, hindi na sila perpendicular, no? Okay? So, siguro best explanation dyan is if you look at, for example, ano bang tawag sa ganito? Yung ginagamit ng, may ganitong object. Yung ginagamit ng mga pulis. Parang ganyan. Kalimutan ko ng term. Batuta ba yun? Sige. Batuta. Oh, yan. Yung parang ganun. So, batuta. So, this is batuta. Tapos, right angle sila, no? So, if you look at it from this view, hindi to perpendicular, no? Pero once na ang ginawa nyo is, kunwari, pinix nyo na true length itong si batuta na ganyan. So, naka-true length siya. You are viewing it from a perpendicular line. So, you'll find out na always perpendicular to. Tapos, kahit inikot ko pa siya, kunwari, inikot ko ng ganyan. So, iikotin ko siya na pa ganyan, no? Perpendicular pa rin siya. Kahit inikot ko siya ng papunta dito, magiging true perpendicular pa rin siya as long as pinix ko tong true length na to, no? Tapos, pagka true length naman siya, kunwari, naka-true length to, tapos, let's just say na at an angle dito, no? So, if at an angle to, tapos naka-true length to, so I'm viewing it at a fixed, no? Kumbaga, yung viewing plane ko is nandito. Kahit anong ikot ko dito sa, and that's all the possible views, no, na true length itong long side na to and hindi true length itong long side, yung shorter side. So you'll kahit anong ikot ko dito, all the possible, so pwedeng ang possible na orientation niya is ganyan, tapos pwede ring closer to us, no? Parang nakaganyan siya. Pwede ngang naka-coincide na siya ng ganyan. Tama? Any rotation na gawin ko, as long as true length to, never siya mapapakita na perpendicular yung long side and the short side. Okay? So that's why pag dito, in this particular case, never natin mapuprove na kasi napakita na natin in true length itong si AB, and it's already shown na si AB is parallel, or in this particular view AB is parallel to the true length in AB, and therefore hindi na sila pwede maging perpendicular. So we can write it as AB in true length is not perpendicular to XY in HRP, and therefore AB is not perpendicular to XY. Okay? So pwedeng ganun yung proof natin. Pero sometimes hindi na necessary itong itong proof of non-perpendicularity. Usually ang hinihingi lang sa atin is to prove that one line is perpendicular to another line. Okay? Tapos we've done AB and 1, 2, tapos AB and XY. So ang kulang na lang natin is 1, 2, and XY. Okay? So in this particular case, it appears perpendicular, no? Ito, if you look at this, appears perpendicular, si 1, 2, and XY. Pero, and kahit dito, no, they appear perpendicular, si 1, 2, and XY. Pero none of these two lines are actually in their true length. So we need an additional view such that i-expose natin at least one of those lines in its true length. You can expose both lines in its true length, no? Pwede naman, mas maganda pa nga yun. Pagka true length ang both of the lines and perpendicular sila, then surely perpendicular na sila. Okay? Pero ang requirement lang is only one of the views, no? So try natin gawin siya dito. So gawa tayo ng perpendicular, parallel reference plane, I should say. Let's do a parallel reference plane. Okay? So something like ganyan. Let's project natin. Okay. Oh, sige. Mukhang may relevant tayong makikita dito. Ang makukuha natin is, let's take my compass. Kunin natin yung distances. And to get the distances, connect natin X, Y, to 1. Ay, ano yung, tama. X and Y and 1 and 2. Tama ba ito? Wait. Ito. Nalito ako. Dito pala. Okay, so kunin natin yung distances. No? So we do Y. Is distance of Y. And hopefully by now, no, parang sobrang sanay nyo na, sanay na kayo class, no, na hindi ko na kailangan i-repeat yung two views before and two lines before. Ano na ba? Meron pa rin bang nalilito doon? Maring no? Sige. So, you'll notice na if you do it enough times, no, sobrang dami nyo ng plates na nagawa. Parang naging second nature na lang yung, yung parang pag-count ng views, no. So, again, I'm working in, hindi ko pala nilabel. So, this is FRP. Kung FRP to, then this is ARP, no. And since I'm working in ARP, Then that's 2 views away, 1, 2. So HRP yung basis ko ng distance. Tapos 2 folding lines away din, 1, 2. Dito yung basis ng measurement ko. Okay? So let's do Y. Tapos X. Okay? Yeah. So we have X and Y. X. Tapos last is 1 and 2, no? 1. And the projection line is, I don't know. An interesting observation dito is they have the same projection line. Ito si 1, 2. That's 1. And the 2 is dito. Okay. This is 2. Tama? So, if we finalize, no, ito, and XY and 1, 2, you'll notice na ito, XY is in true length, no? Y. This is 1, 2. XY is in true length, pero hindi rin siya nag-appear as perpendicular, no? So, we can write our proofs. And the proofs, although hindi ko na ulitin to, no? The proofs are considered as final answers, no? So, kailangan isulat nyo rin sila in using your H pencil, yung darker pencil. Okay, so sulat tayo ng proof dito. We show that XY is in its true length and it is not perpendicular to 1, 2. And this is in ARP. Therefore, XY is not perpendicular to 1, 2. Okay? Okay. May tanong si Shane kung isusulat ba yung proof sa mismong answers. Yes, you have to write the proofs, no? Kasi kumbaga, ito yung needed natin na sagot. Pero no need ba sabihin kung alin ang hindi perpendicular lines? Na hindi na kailangan yung, in most cases, no, hindi na kailangan yung perpendicular lines. Unless the problem specifically asks kung are the two lines perpendicular to each other. So kung if it's specifically like that, kunwari, ang sinabi dito, let's take this problem, no? Sabi kasi dito is determine which of the given lines are perpendicular. Since ang pinapa-determine lang naman is uh, which lines are perpendicular, then I can just answer na this one, no? Pwedeng ito lang yung sagot ko because this is the only two lines na perpendicular. So I can say na AB is perpendicular to 1, 2. Among the three lines, pwedeng isulat ko as a final answer is among the three lines, only AB is perpendicular to 1, 2. Pwedeng ganyan. Okay? Pero if I were to rephrase the question, kunwari ang question is something like, um, is AB perpendicular to XY? Kunwari ganun, no? Is AB perpendicular to XY? So if ganun ang question, then you have to write this proof, no? So you have to write this to prove na hindi sila perpendicular. Okay? Pero most of the time, hindi ganito yung statement ng problem. So usually, it's stated in a way na, kumbaga, hindi siya yung main na hinihingi, no? Kumbaga, part lang siya ng condition para makapag-produce kayo ng other planes or other lines or other objects, no? So usually, the problems become something like, um, construct plane ABC such that line AB is perpendicular to line XY. Parang ganun. So, yun yung mga conditions. No? And para ma-satisfy nyo, you have to remember na in one of those views, dapat si XY should be, or si given line should be in its true length, and it should be shown to be perpendicular to whichever line you are trying to construct. No? Parang ganyan. Okay? So I think there are examples dito sa ano na to no, na that involves construction of lines and plates, no? And mas makikita natin siya doon. Okay? So ito, determine which of the lines are perpendicular, and these lines are, ito yung perfect example ng mga skew lines, no? Usually kasi when you have a parallel line, so ito magba-backtrack ako konti, no? Isa kasi sa parang definitions ng parallel lines is that they will always appear parallel in all of the views, no? So since ang parallel lines always appear parallel in all views, therefore it makes sense that you only need two consecutive views, or kahit hindi ka consecutive, you need just to show those two lines appearing in two views as parallel to each other. So if you can do that, then you can have successfully proved na parallel yung two lines na yun. No? So you can have something like kunwari AB is parallel, pwedeng ganito yung magiging proof niya, no? So AB is parallel to, ito random lang to, parallel to 1, 2 in HRP. Parang ganyan. Tapos AB is parallel to 1, 2 in FRP. Therefore, AB is parallel to 1, 2. Okay? So parang ganyan yung proofs for parallelism. No? You need to show that the two lines are parallel in at least two views. Okay? Now the problem, okay yun, no? And you'll be tempted to say na parang, hindi ba ganito yung case dito, sir? Kunwari, 1, 2 is parallel to AB in HRP. And at the same time, 1, 2 is parallel to AB in FRP. Therefore, hindi ba dapat 1, 2 is parallel to AB? Ayan. So, yung only exception lang to yung two additional views na rule, no, is if yung lines na that you have that you are trying to establish the relationship of which, no, appears perpendicular to the view to the folding line or the reference plane. If they appear perpendicular, hindi mo actually mapuprove in just two views, no. You actually need an additional view pa. And this is the case here, no. In this case, hindi natin masabi agad na kahit itong si 1, 2, AB, and si XY, AB, AB, XY, itong three lines na to, hindi natin automatic mapuprove agad na parallel sila just because meron tayong two additional views. And this is because, again, yung lines na to are perpendicular to the folding line. Okay? So yun lang yung only exception. No? Okay? So for this particular case, we'll have to add another additional view. No? So pwedeng dito tayo maggumawa. And this is FRP. And since this is a perpendicular line, a perpendicular na view, we can say ARP din to. Pero pwede na rin sabihin natin na PRP siya, no? So, but instead of the left side view, instead of the right side view, ang kinukuha natin is yung left side view. Okay? Which is for all intents and purposes, it's still the PRP, no? So we can just label this as PRP as well. Okay? And move down ko lang siya. So I can do it this way, or pwede rin I'll do it on the top side view, no? Hindi naman nagmo-matter. Pwede rin naman 'yon. And ito, just to siguro challenge your understanding of the different views, no? Tingin nyo, if I do a perpendicular line here or a perpendicular reference plane here, would that mean na PRP din to? What do you think? Or ARP lang ba siya? Confusing ba? Walang reaction ng mga tao. May nag-leave. Dahil ba sa question? So actually, if you look at it, no, pagka gumawa ko dito sa right side is actually the PRP view as well. No? Kasi itong ang unique dito sa mga primary reference planes natin is that they are orthogonal to each other, no? Or meaning perpendicular to each other sila, all of those three views. So parang actually any additional view is a orthogonal view, no? So if I started here, kunwari ito, this is FRP. I move upwards, this is HRP. If I move to the right, then actually I go back to PRP, no? Tama? Tapos kunwari, nasa PRP na ako. If I move, kumbaga ang nakikita ko dito sa PRP is yung parang, if I were to unfold this, no? Para siyang ganyan. Okay? So, parang nakaganito siya, no? So actually, ito, PRP to, pero it is rotated 90 degrees pa ganyan. As opposed to what I'll see dito if I were to draw it in the right side view, no? So for example, to make it more obvious, no? So kunwari lang ang nakikita ko dito is ganyan. Then dito sa view na to, or sige para mas obvious. If dito sa view na to, it's something like kunwari ganyan yung object, itsura niya. Then dito sa PRP, if it were placed to the right of HRP, dapat ganyan yung orientation niya. Okay? So para siyang ganyan. So, hindi naman siguro nagmamatter siya ngayon, no? Pero just something to think about, no? To challenge your understanding of the primary reference planes, no? And how you imagine objects in space, no? Itong mga lines and plane. May tanong si Shane. Si Shane, kung wala namang tinanong, pero ang nakalagay is explicitly state the lines used as reference to know the conclusion, gagamitin ba ng HP yung reference lines? Yes, kailangan nyo i-finalize yun. No? As long as it's part of the what is required of the problem, then you have to write it down. No? Kung sinabi na you need to state those lines that you use for the reference, then you need to write it down as a proof. No? Okay? So, balik tayo dito. So, dito, in this particular case, we can do FRP, PRP to the, we can do reference plane to the left of this view. Pwede rin actually dito rin, no, to the left of this view. It doesn't really matter as long as we do an additional view. Okay? So, if we do this, ganyan. Nag-line up pa sila. Okay. Line up na sila. Okay, A, B. Actually, itong example na to, no, halos similar siya doon sa binigay ko sa inyo na example na of skew lines, no. You are certain na skew lines tong dalawang to, no. Yung parang may kahit anong extend na gawin nyo, hindi sila mag-extend kasi hindi coplanar itong mga lines na to, and there is a gap in between them, no. And this gap right here is actually yung perpendicular distance between the two of them, no. And later on, pagka, hindi ko alam kung kasama pa ba yun sa plates, pero later on, may discussion about shortest distance. No? And actually, this is the shortest distance, which is also known as a common perpendicular. No? Pero more on that later on another lesson. No? Okay, so project natin siya. We take our compass. Oh, yung compass natin. Take the distances. We're working PRP. 2 views away is HRP. For ito, this location of 2, 2. Then we have 1. Wait. Since 2A and 2 are the same, no? Tama. At pala, okay lang. Hindi sila equal, no? No, they're not equal. Okay, so, papalayin ako. So, this is 1 lang muna ang gawin natin. 1. So, 1 is here. Okay. So, this is 2, 1. Tapos next ay A. A is here. Next, B. To. And B has the same projection line as 2, no? Which is dito. Sorry. This B. To A. Last is yung XY na lang, no? XY, which is to. Up. We could probably zoom, no, para sigurado. Okay, so this is Y. Y is this one. Tama? This is Y. And last line natin is, not last point I mean, is X. Which is this distance away. So X, ito yung projection line ng X, no? Oh, oh. Ako. So dito siya dapat X. Therefore, dito si X. So let's connect everything. And yeah. X, Y. So based on this, we can see, and let me erase some of the projection lines. So we can say na, and let me darken the final answers. No? So ang conclusion natin is that 1, 2 is perpendicular to, sorry. And all of these are in their true length, no? Tama? Ito, this is in true length. Ito, true length and true length. It's in true length because the plane we did here is perpendicular to, sorry, parallel to these three lines, no? Okay? So kung parallel siya, therefore, lahat ng lalabas na lines dito is in their true length, no? So we can write down 1, 2, which is, and I'll just say 1, 2, no? 1, 2, which is in its true length, is perpendicular to AB, which is also in true length, no? In PRP. Minsan, hindi na sinusulat tong PRP, no? Sometimes pala class, if you are, kunwari ito, AB is perpendicular to 1, 2 in HRP, as long as you are, sometimes teachers do this, no? Ito yung parang common notation. If you are writing the proof in a particular view, and in this case, sinulat ko siya sa HRP, then understood na HRP yung ibig kong sabihin dito. In the same manner na ito, si XY is not perpendicular to 1, 2, na TL siya, in not perpendicular in ARP, pwede actually omit ko ng ARP, no? Because I am writing the proof in ARP. Okay? So, kung ganun yung style nyo, actually pwedeng tanggalin na yung HRP, no? Pero some students like to place their proofs in one area lang. So, kunwari, hindi necessarily na nasa HRP. Kunwari, I'm writing my proofs dito. Kunwari, dito ako nagsusulat ng proof, no? 1, 2, TL is perpendicular to AB, TL. Then I have to write in PRP para kumbaga alam ng checker kung anong view yung tinutukoy ko dito, yung apparent na perpendicularity na sinasabi ko. So yung appears perpendicular. Okay? So it depends on you guys, pero ako I always just suggest na just to be safe, no? Sulat yun na lang kung anong view siya perpendicular. So if I do this 1, 2 perpendicular to AB, I will write in which view yung nakita ko yung apparent perpendicularity nila. So, ganyan. And therefore, 1, 2 is perpendicular to AB. Okay? Similarly, si A, B, and XY, hindi sila perpendicular, no? So, if I complete it, I can do XY, which is in TL, is not perpendicular to AB, also in TL, in PRP, and therefore, XY is not perpendicular to AB. And lastly, yung kulang na lang 1, 2, and XY, no? 1, 2 is perpendicular, is not perpendicular. Sorry. Lagay ko pala dito. TL is not perpendicular to XY in PRP. And therefore, sorry, bakit therefore ako nagsimula? So, therefore, 1, 2 is not perpendicular to XY. Okay? So, tama naman, no? I've stated all of the lines. Okay? So that's fairly easy, no? When we are trying to do parang two lines. If you want to prove perpendicularity, then just show one line in its true length. Tapos once in its true length, take note of their relationship. If it's perpendicular, then they are truly perpendicular. If they are not perpendicular in that view where one of the lines is shown in CL, then they are no longer, then it's no longer possible for them to be perpendicular in any view. Okay. I'm sorry, there is no longer possible for them to be truly perpendicular. Alright? Kasi pwede pa rin sila mag-appear perpendicular. I mean. Okay? So, okay tayo dito? So, para matulungan kayo guys, no, may isa-send ako sa inyo and let me try to find it. Ito. Let me just show you this one. Open with Edge. Nope. Hindi lumalabas. Ito. So I've prepared, this is the notes and observations that I've gathered throughout the years of teaching ES1, no? And ito yung mga, some of the, observations. And you can add to this if meron pa kayong iba pang no? Pero hopefully mamatulungan kayo dito, no? So I've listed down kahit sa mga true length, point view, meron akong nilagay dito. Itong reference plane na sinasabi dito, this is a folding line, no? So if a reference plane is made parallel to a line, so ang ibig ko sabihin dito is the folding line that separates the two viewing planes, no? Okay? Tapos dito, kumari sa parallel lines and planes, if two lines are truly parallel, if and only if they appear parallel in all views. Okay, so if two lines appear parallel in consecutive views but the reference plane is perpendicular to the lines, then an additional view is needed. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. So on and so on. So I've noted na mayroong mga words dito na truly, tapos meron ding words na appears. So yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? to differentiate na apparent parallelism versus true parallelism. And dito sa perpendicular lines, I've also gathered a few observations and ano no, and notes, and you can just read on them on your own. So hopefully makakatulong to sa inyo. So I'll link this in our, siguro ilalagay ko na lang sa sync sessions na folder, no? And hopefully makakatulong to sa pag ano niyo, no, sa pagsagot niyo ng MR requirements natin. Okay? All right. Mostly pang ano lang to, no? Pang projections and ano lang. So wala masyadong geom-con siya. MR2 to pala ang most sa mga tips dito. Applicable to MR2. Okay? So balik tayo. Nasaan ba tayo? Okay. So proceed tayo dito. Alright. Compass. Okay. So dito naman, let's try to determine if a line is perpendicular to a plane. So we've already covered line perpendicular to another line, no? So ang sabi natin na requirement lang is that that one of the lines be shown in its true length. Tapos if they appear perpendicular in that particular view, then they will be truly perpendicular to each other. Now, when we have a plane that is that we want to prove is perpendicular to a line, then what we actually just need to do is to prove that one line contained in the plane is truly perpendicular to the given line. Okay? So why it works? Because if and I'll try to draw it here, no? So kunwari lang meron tayong plane na ganyan, and there is a line, kunwari ganyan, and this is truly perpendicular to this plane right here. So you'll notice that this plane
Sir?
actually, yes?
Hindi
Ay,
po
sorry.
ata naka-share screen.
Sorry. Ito. Binalik ko na. Thank you for the reminders, Shane. No? So let's try to look at this, no? So kunwari ito, you have a plane. So parang just imagine na parang nasa base siya. So nasa ground kumbaga. If this is your ground, kunwari. So nasa ground siya. Tapos meron kayang line that is sticking out to. And siguro para mas ma-imagine nyo pa. Kunwari lang parang flagpole siya, no? Parang ganyan. So, try to imagine a flagpole to. Tapos, meron tayong line sticking out to. Parang ganyan.
Sir, excuse me po. Di po
Yes?
kita, sir.
Ano?
Di po sakop sa, ano po, share screen.
Ay, hindi ba?
Opo.
Wait. Totoo ba?
Yes, sir. Yung bottom lang po nung kita namin.
Yung bottom lang. Bakit ganun? Dito sa view ko, kita naman lahat. Yung iba ba? Gaganon din nakikita?
Ay, sir, okay na po pala.
Okay na? Okay. Baka ano lang.
Sorry, sir.
Hindi, it's okay, it's okay. Sige. So, tutuloy natin, no? So, imagine na meron tayong flagpole, no? Pare ganyan. So, may flagpole tayo na ganyan. Tapos, just try to imagine na itong pole na to, naka-stick siya doon sa base natin and they are truly perpendicular to each other. Tama? Medyo madali lang naman yung imagination niya, no? So, you'll find out na actually, etong si ano no, flagpole is actually perpendicular to all lines contained in the plane. Tama? Kasi if you draw a line here, that line is perpendicular to the flagpole. Tapos if I draw another random plane right there, perpendicular din yan dun sa plane. And in fact, all of the infinite number of lines that I will produce because this plane here is perpendicular to the flagpole, then all lines contained within the plane is automatically perpendicular to the flagpole, right? So paano natin siya magagamit? So if all lines contained in the plane is perpendicular to the line, then therefore we only just need to find one. So if we can find one that is perpendicular, uh, uh, if you can find one line that is truly perpendicular to the given line, then all of the lines contained in that plane is also truly perpendicular, which means that the plane is also truly perpendicular to the given line. Okay, so let's try to figure out how we can prove that, no? So, ang sabi natin is dapat truly perpendicular sila. And how do we prove true perpendicularity? Kailangan lang ipakita natin na merong true length, na true length yung isang line involved. Tama? So, what we can do is, pwede actually natin gawin is gumawa tayo ng parallel, sorry, tama. Pwede tayong gumawa ng parallel reference plane dito. No? If we do a parallel reference plane, then we can show AB in its true length, and from there, pwede ko na i-prove na, dito, pwede ko na i-prove na uh, si AB is either truly perpendicular or not perpendicular to the plane 1 to 3. Pero that involves a lot of projection lines, no? So an easier way of doing it is, instead of trying to prove na, or instead of exposing AB as the true length, I can just show one of the lines contained in 1, 2, 3 as a true length. Kasi mas madali yun, di ba? There are infinite number of lines. Kunwari ito, these are all contained in 1, 2, 3. And those infinite number of lines can be made to shown in its true length. Tama? And in fact, dito, one of the edges, itong si 1, 2, is already parallel to HRP. Therefore, ito, this is already in true length. Okay? And if you look at it, naka-true length siya, and it is perpendicular to AB. Therefore, the proof is simple dito, no? 1, 2, which is in its true length, is perpendicular to AB, and I'll just write in HRP. Okay, so again, sometimes hindi na necessary to, no? Lalo na pagka sinusulat yung proof doon sa mismong view. Pero again, good practice, just write it down, no? So 1, 2 is perpendicular, 1, 2 which is in TL is contained in AB. Sorry, 1, 1, 2 which is in true length is perpendicular to AB in HRP. And 1, 2 is contained in 1, 2, 3 in plane 1, 2, 3. So this is minsan ito yung symbol natin for plane 1, 2, 3, no? Let me move this, no, para mas malinaw ba 'yan? Ito na lang. So 1, 2 is contained in plane 1, 2, 3, and therefore plane 1, 2, 3 is perpendicular to AB. Sometimes hindi na sinusulat tong second part, no? Itong 1, 2 is contained in uh, plane 1 to 3, or minsan hindi nga contained yung word, pwede rin ang gamitin nyo is part of. Pwede nga is part of plane 1 to 3. I just like the word is contained in 1 to 3, no? 1, 2 is contained in 1 to 3, therefore triangle 1 to 3 is perpendicular to AB. So pwedeng ganito yung proof, no? Some teachers don't require na ano, no, na sinusulat tong second na statement na to. From here, pwede na mag-jump diretso dito. So, pwede naman yun. You can do that. Pero, this, ano, no, this parang itong ganitong statement by statement na proof is just clear in my opinion. No? So, mas malinaw kung ano yung gusto mong sabihin dito. Okay? So, I just like to do ganito, no? Itong 3-step na proof nito. So, it's up to you guys if you want to do the 3-step, or pwede rin yung 2 steps lang. Itong first na statement and yung last statement. Kasi parang sometimes it's obvious na, no, na 1, 2 is part of 1, 2, 3. Okay? So, okay tayo dito, no? And another way we can do it is And just to show na all, dahil truly perpendicular to each other siya, kahit gumawa ako ng any true length dito, I should get the same perpendicularity na condition. Tama? So if I were to draw a random line, arbitrary line, or this is not, hindi siya totally random. No? So what I'll do is, i-parallel ko siya dito sa reference line na to, or folding plane, or folding line. Then itong 2, 2 prime na to, should be true length dito sa FRP. So if I do it, if I project it downwards, and this is, itong 2 prime is in between 1, 3, therefore, dapat dito siya pinoproject. Not dito, dito dapat ha. So if I do that, you'll also see, and if I extend it, you'll see na perpendicular siya. Mangit yung ginawa ko. Ayan. You'll see na si 2, 2 prime is actually perpendicular to, which is true length, is perpendicular to AB. Therefore, and actually, pwede rin, ito yung proof nyo, no? You can do 2, 2 prime is TL, that is in true length, is perpendicular to line AB in FRP. And 2, 2 prime is contained in triangle 1, 2, 3. Then therefore, triangle 1, 2, 3 is perpendicular to AB. Okay? So, pwedeng ganyan. So, actually, you don't have to do both, no? Pwedeng hanggang dito ka lang, na-prove mo siya, or pwedeng direct, ito yung proof mo. So, it's an either na condition, no? Hindi siya kailangan both ipakita nyo. Pero this just shows you na perpendicular siya. Okay? Another way of proving it is, you can also do point view, no? If, or siguro consequence na lang siguro to. So if you try to imagine the and actually part siya ng yung parang notes and observations na nilagay ko. One thing you can do is you can view AB in its point view. So kung naka-point view si AB, you'll actually expose 1, 2, 3 in its true size. Okay? Kung truly perpendicular sila to each other. Okay? So pwedeng ganun. Tapos if perpendicular tong si, okay. So kung ang ginawa nyo ring true length itong si AB, na mangyayari is magiging edge view to si plane 1, 2, 3. And maybe you can do that on your own, no? So try to do it as a sort of exercise, no? Try nyo expose itong si AB in its edge view, or sorry, in its true length, and automatic itong si 1, 2, 3 will become edge view, no? And actually, kahit hindi ko ibuwi, no, pwedeng ma-prove ko na siya agad dito. So if I were to draw a perpendicular, a parallel line, kunwari, gagawa tayo ng parallel line, hindi ko na siya ibubuin kasi papakita ko lang yung first few steps. Kung gagawa ko ng perpendicular dito, then therefore, whatever I project dito sa AB will be true length. Tama? Magiging true length yan. Now, notice how ito si 2, 2 prime, because it is perpendicular to AB, and this AB and this reference line is parallel to your AB. Therefore, itong si 2, 2 prime is also perpendicular. So if I were to project it papunta dito, perpendicular yan, perpendicular yan. And what we remember is pagka isang true length, gumawa ka ng perpendicular reference point, reference plane, magiging point view to. Tama? So, ito, random place ko lang ilalagay pero random lang ko ilalagay, pero most likely, since ganito yung distance niya, somewhere dito dapat siya. So, sige, I'll just place it here, no? So, ito si 2, 2 prime will be shown in its point view. And if you remember the previous lesson, no? Sabi natin, if a line is contained in a plane and that line is shown in its point view, automatic mag-edge view na rin si plane. Tama? So ito, that's why ang pagka tinuloy nyo to, ang mangyayari dyan is magiging edge view edge view si 1, 2, 3, tapos true length si AB. Okay? So, yan yung mangyayari dyan. Right? So, that is also another way of proving it. No? If you are given a line and a plane, then just expose one of the lines in its true length. And if they are truly perpendicular, automatic mag-edge view dapat si plane 1, 2, 3 or si given plane. No? Pero again, pag ganun yung ginawa nyo kasi, mag-additional view pa kayo and that takes some time. No? Tama? Kasi di hamak mas madali to. Parang dalawang line lang yung ginawa nyo. In fact, dito, wala kang ginawang lines dito eh. So, if you were to prove it using line 1, 2, no, which is in TL, ang ginawa nyo lang is, ito lang yung sinulat nyo. Wala, saka nagsulat kayo ng TL. Pero wala kayong additional lines na ginawa. Okay? So, using the same principles in example A, determine which of the given lines ES and YZ is perpendicular to plane 4, 5, 6. Okay? So, let's try to do this using the same principles as in, okay, may time pa naman ako. So, let's try dito muna. So, XY, there is no obvious true length, no? Kasi ito, XY here is not parallel dito. Ito rin hindi rin parallel dito. At the same time, si ES, hindi rin siya parallel to any lines. No? So, wala tayong parang convenient na true length. And kahit edges ni 4, 5, 6, wala rin, no? So, for this particular case, it's always just easier to make our own true length, no? So, in this particular case, it's 6, 6 prime. So, 6, 6 prime, 6 prime is in between, is along line 4, 5, and therefore, dapat dito siya. So, this is 6, 6 prime. And 6, 6 prime is now a true length. So, kung true length si 6, 6 prime, we'll just need to show kung aling line ang perpendicular sa kanya. So, if we were to extend this, so kung ito siya. Oh. So, we show na itong si ES is actually perpendicular to the true length 6, 6 prime, no? Pero itong si XY, kung i-extend natin siya, if we were to extend XY, and then we note that XY is not perpendicular, no? Okay? So, no need to extend actually, no? Hindi nyo kailangan extend. So, hindi. Tatanggalin ko lang ito, no? Pero I'm just showing you na hindi sila perpendicular. So, pwede ang proof natin dito is that si 6, 6 prime, which is true length, is perpendicular to ES. And in the PRP, this is most likely PRP to, no? PRP, FRP to PRP to. Medyo na sira lang yung formatting niya. So, in AFP, and 6, 6 prime is contained in 4, 5, 6. Therefore, 4, 5, 6 is perpendicular to ES. Okay? Pwede ganyan. Tapos, similarly, pwede rin ang proof nyo is, no? Ang magiging proof nyo doon sa isa is 6, 6 prime. Pwede ko i-copy na lang to, no? Let me just copy this. Oh, mali. Is not perpendicular to XY PRP, and 6, 6 prime is contained in 4, 5, 6. Therefore, 4, 5, 6 is not perpendicular to, no, hindi pala siya XY, no? It's YZ. It's not perpendicular to YZ. Okay? So, reminder again, pwedeng wala tong second to. In fact, dun sa module ata, yung video na ginawa, sino bang gumawa ng video lecture na to? Nakalimutan ko. Pero I think it's not me ata. So, ang alam ko LOI at PP ako eh. piercing points and lines of intersection. But anyway, ito, if you look at the video, mukhang hindi niya ata sinusulat to, no? So it depends sometimes on the teacher, no? Okay? So, again, it depends on you guys kung ano yung mas comfortable kayo. I just personally, no, again, I just really like this type of ano, no, proofs kasi logical yung approach niya. Kumbaga, kita agad what I'm trying to say here. Okay? Next is now that we've proven kung alin yung alin yung mga ano natin, true lengths. Let's try to do itong part C, no? Sabi dito, draw the edge view of the plane and project the perpendicular line. What happened to said line? And ito, medyo na-prove na natin dito, no? Sabi natin, pag in-edge view natin to, or ang sabi natin dito, pag tinulat natin ng AB, magiging edge view to. Opposite naman dito, no? Parang, which is saying the same thing pa rin naman. If in-edge view natin to si 456, automatic dapat magto-true length itong uh, si ES, no, which is our ano. And we can show it dito, class, no. And let me just move it dito sa side na to. Since nilagay ko naman in PRP, so obvious naman, or kumbaga may reference naman kung saan siya, sang viewing plane or sang reference plane ako nagre-reference when I talk about this proof right here. Ito. Okay? So that's why, again, it's always easier or less prone to error or mistakes, no, if you write kung aling reference plane nyo nakita yung observation nyo. So dito, let's try to do it. Gagawa tayo ng perpendicular reference plane to make the edge view, no? So again, I'm doing a perpendicular reference plane because I already have a convenient true length dito in 6 prime, no? Therefore, if I were to project it, sa side na to, then automatic dapat na si 456 will become edge view, no? So, may ganyan. So, let's just continue, no? So, okay. So, uh, connect ko si 5, 6, and 4. Okay. Where's my compass? Take my compass. No, sorry. 1, 2. So, dito tayo sa 4. 4 muna. This is 4. Sorry. 4. Then 6. This one. 6. And if I did it correctly, magla-line up yung tatlo, no? Hopefully I did. Okay. Five. So if I connect the 3 points, nag-line up naman siya. Oh. Okay. So this is already edge view. Set that in. Edge view. Tapos, i-project na lang natin yung isa pa, no? Yung ES na line, which we know already will be true length, no? Because parallel itong reference plane natin dun sa ES. Okay? So, just for the sake of completion, tatapusin ko lang to. So, ES is E. E is right here. E. And lastly, CS is this one. Oh, this is so ito siya. Nasaan si S? This naduduling ako. Ito S. So this is true length. So, try ko lang i-finalize ang answer. ES, masyadong manipis. And to 456. This is E, 4, 5, no, sorry. This is 6. Ito yung 5. Okay? So, yan yung final answer ko. Okay? So, kung again, pagka true length yung line natin, automatic kung truly parallel, truly perpendicular, I mean, yung line to the plane, then automatic magiging perpendicular na rin automatic magiging edge view dapat si plane. Okay? And vice versa, no? Kung in-edge view niyo yung plane, dapat automatic magiging true length si perpendicular line. Okay? So last example tayo. And we can probably finish just in time for my next appointment. For mga 4:20 matatapos tayo dito. Okay? So, try natin to. Determine whether the planes are perpendicular to each other. Now, dito naman, let's try the example ulit ng flagpole, no? So, if I do a flagpole, may certain ako, no? May flagpole. Hindi ko na nagandahan, no? Kunwari lang, itong flagpole na to is perpendicular to the plane. Itong base, no? Perpendicular siya. Sabi natin, simple lang ang magiging proof niya, no? Kailangan lang i-prove natin na itong si perpendicular line na to contains a line or kailangan lang that this plane contains at least one line that is truly perpendicular to itong flagpole. Tama? Now, let's imagine na dun sa flagpole may flag tayo na ganyan. So, I'll just do a triangular flag. No? So, itong flagpole na to, if you look at it, no, it actually has a, kumbaga, itong particular na plane na to is actually perpendicular to this base right here. So, kung ibababa ko tong flag, parang mangyayari dyan is ganito siya. Tama? And this particular plane right here is perpendicular to the base. Tama? It's perpendicular. And I hope you can see that, no? Na perpendicular sila. And siguro mas madaling ma-imagine ko hindi triangle yung ginawa ko, no? Ginawa ko is parang flag rin na ganyan. So pag binaba ko yung flag na yan, mangyari is I'll have something like ito yung base, yung flag ko, parang obvious na perpendicular siya, no? Parang ganyan siya. Perpendicular to the plane. So what does this tell me? This tells me that if one line that is contained in the plane is perpendicular to the other plane, then automatic yung or truly perpendicular to the other plane, then automatic itong uh, other plane na to, itong first plane is already truly perpendicular to the given plane as well. Okay? So, nag-make sense ba 'yon? So, kumbaga itong flagpole lang talaga ang kumbaga nagpapadetermine kung perpendicular itong si flag and si base. Tama? So actually, ano to, no? Sige, baka hindi nyo pa magagets kasi sa crystallography actually may ganitong scenario, no, when we're looking at itong yung normals ng planes, no. We call this as a normal, no. Um Ang sige, later ko na lang i-discuss yun. Hindi naman siya masyadong relevant sa discussion ko. Pero anyway, so ang gusto lang natin i-prove is etong si wait lang ah. Oops, sorry, sorry. Sorry class no. Hmm, may kulang pala dito no. Okay. So, let me backtrack a little bit class no. So, I mentioned na etong si ano no, etong si flagpole. We mentioned the flagpole no. Tapos, ang sabi natin is we just need to prove, ang first na sinabi ko is kailangan ko lang ng isang line kasi there are infinite number of lines. No? There are infinite number of lines that are perpendicular to this flagpole right here. And ang sabi ko, we just need to prove that one of the lines is perpendicular uh, to the to the given line, no? Pero hindi pala pwedeng isa lang, no? Because if you try to imagine it, kunwari lang, ito yung ano natin, yung flagpole natin. Kunwari lang, isa lang yung kinuha natin na perpendicular line. Para ganyan. If we only get one perpendicular line, then actually pwede nating i-rotate yung plane. No? So kunwari, if you rotate the plane about this line, so magiging ganito yung plane kung kumbaga natin. Kunwari, ni-rotate natin siya ng ganyan around the given line. No? So yung line natin, maintain pa rin natin siya, pero ni-rotate natin yung plane. So parang ang nangyari is, itong line na to is still the same line. Same orientation pa rin siya. It's still perpendicular to the yung itong flagpole na to. Pero yung plane ngayon, hindi na siya actually perpendicular, no? Tama? Kasi parang ni-rotate na natin siya eh. So actually, ang kailangan natin is not only one perpendicular line, we actually need two perpendicular lines. Kasi pag ganyan, kung dalawa na yung finix natin and this uh, perpendicular line and this other line right here should not be parallel to this first line. Kasi kung ang ginawa nyo is this same line right here, then if you rotated the plane, ang mangyayari dyan is it will still provide you the same information. No? Okay? So kumbaga ito, if you were to translate that, perpendicular pa rin naman siya doon sa plane na to. So hindi ito yung mag-fix sa plane natin. So actually, ang kailangan natin is two non-parallel lines. Okay? So we need to prove that there are two non-parallel lines that are perpendicular to this itong given line na to that is contained in the plane. So ang proof natin dito is hindi lang isang line. No? So we need to prove that there are two lines existing that are contained in the plane 1, 2, 3. And we need to show na truly parallel, truly perpendicular, I should say, siya doon sa given line. So with that said, in this particular case, ang dalawang proof natin is dapat ito, no? Ito yung two proofs natin. So kumbaga, ang proof natin is kulang yung proof. I'm sorry. So hindi enough to, no? Itong first two statements na to hindi siya enough because we need another set of lines, no? So kailangan ito siya. So we do ganito. Okay? So ito yung proof natin. So the first proof is si 1, 2 which is in TL is perpendicular to AB. Therefore, si 1, 2 is truly perpendicular to so pwede actually, pwedeng ganyan yung state or another way of stating it is mas maganda ata kung ganito yung siya state. So 1, 2 is perpendicular to TL in A uh, is perpendicular to AB in HRP. Therefore, 1, 2 oops. 1, 2 is perpendicular to AB. Tapos, ang next proof nyo is this one. 2 prime in TL is perpendicular to AB in FRP. Therefore, 2 prime is perpendicular to AB. Tapos, since 2 prime and 1, 2 are contained in 1, 2, 3, therefore, pwede nang 1, 2, 3 is perpendicular to AB. Okay? So, ganun siya class, no? So, kailangan i-prove nyo na merong 2 lines contained in the there should be 2 lines, and those pair of lines should be non-parallel to each other, no? So there should be 2 non-parallel lines that are contained in the given plane, that and they should be shown, or you should prove that those 2 non-parallel lines are truly perpendicular to the given line. Okay, so in this case, ang pinili natin is the first line that we showed was 1, 2. Then the second line that we showed was si line 2, 2 prime. Okay, so in this particular case, dito sa kabila naman, ang pinakita natin is si 6, 6 prime. So kailangan natin magpakita ng isa pa, no? So pwedeng ang gawin natin is, and I'll use a different color, no, para mas malinaw siya. If I draw a parallel line dito, no, parallel to the folding line. So let's do 5, 5 prime, and I project 5, 5 prime, and 5 prime is in between 4 and 6. So dapat in between 4 and 6 siya, or along 4, 6, therefore dito siya dapat. So this is my 5, 5 prime. And if you look at it, si 5, 5 prime is perpendicular to your line ES, no? Yan. Diba? So, kung perpendicular siya, so dito in the same way, dadagdagan lang natin yung proof na to, no? So, pwede ko siguro pero itong ano 66 prime is not perpendicular. Ano na siya, no, enough na siya kasi kung hindi siya perpendicular to a single true length, enough na yun to prove na hindi perpendicular yung YZ in this particular case. Enough na yun to prove na YZ is not perpendicular to 4, 5, 6. Kasi dapat if truly perpendicular yung isang line to a given plane, all of the lines contained in that given plane should be perpendicular to that given line. Okay, so kahit isang line lang pinakita ko, it's enough to prove hindi sila perpendicular. Pero to prove that they are perpendicular to each other, kailangan at least 2 lines. Kasi posibleng yung first na nagkataon lang na perpendicular sila. So I have to get another line that is not the same information as the first line, no? Which means na dapat non-parallel yung piliin ko. And in this case, 5, 5 prime and 6, 6 prime are not parallel to each other, no? So pwede, this can work. So dito, ang proof ko, dadagan ko na lang, no? And I'll use different color para just to show you. I can add dito sa proof na to 5, 5 prime, which is true length is perpendicular to ES, which is in this particular in FRP, no? In FRP. So therefore, and ito, pagawin natin to. So mangyari is, therefore, 6, 6 prime is perpendicular to ES. Dito naman, 5, 5 prime is perpendicular to ES. Tapos, ito, ang ano natin is 6, 6 prime and 5, 5 prime are contained in triangle 4, 5, 6. and therefore triangle 456 is perpendicular to ES. Okay? So, sometimes din class, hindi na nila pinapasulat din tong ano, no? Minsan, hindi na rin pinapasulat ito, tsaka ito, kasi obvious na na itong 3, ito 1, minsan, itong 1, 2, and 3 are enough, no? Proof. So kung ano, kung nagmamadali kayo or hindi nyo kailangan na ipakita talaga lahat ng ano, ng steps nyo or yung logical na steps nyo to arrive at the conclusion, then you can just, ito yung bare minimum, no? Ito si 1, 2, and 3. Pwede nyo tanggalin na itong ito, at ito. Okay? Pero I suggest just leaving it in there, no? Para, again, yung sinabi ko kanina, mas logical yung steps na kinuha nyo. So mas obvious siya, kumbaga. So, another question here. Kapag yung isang line ay naka-point view tapos yung isa ay naka-plane, necessary ba na nasa loob ng plane yung point view para masabi perpendicular siya? Hindi naman. Hindi man necessary. I'm assuming you're saying na naka-point view yung isang line tapos true size yung plane. Tama? Kasi kung truly perpendicular sila, dapat yung point view is true size. So again, ang assumption dito again is all we're talking about perpendicularity in terms of vectors and directions, no? So hindi nagmamatter kung nag-intersect sila or not. So we are talking about relationships and therefore we assume na translatable lahat ng line. So this line right here is translatable. So pwede siyang malagay dyan for them to intersect. In the same manner na itong plane na to, we could imagine it as just a segment that represents an infinite plane, no? And if we were to extend the plane, then covered pa rin niya yung makikita pa rin nila yung kumbaga may intersection pa rin sila. Okay? And um doon sa next few lessons, we shall actually cover, I don't know, intersection of itong si point with a line, and we call that as a piercing point, no? So, if we extend the plane or extend the line, we can actually, kung hindi sila apparently nag-intersect, meron tayong parang tinatawag na parang imaginary piercing point, no? Pero more on that when you proceed to the next few lessons, no? Okay? So, ito, just remember class no na dapat when we do proofs for perpendicular lines, you need to have, ito, just remember this parang drawing, no? We need to prove that one of the lines, that the given line is perpendicular to at least two non-parallel lines that are contained in the plane. Okay? So if you prove that they are truly perpendicular to those two non-parallel lines, then automatic the plane is truly perpendicular to the given line. Okay? So ito, balik tayo dito, no? So, kaya tayo bumalik doon. So, sabi ko is, itong flagpole, the flagpole is perpendicular to the plane if we can show na merong two non-parallel lines that are truly perpendicular to the flagpole. And it turns out that when the flagpole is perpendicular to this, itong base of the flag, itong base, then the flag itself is perpendicular to the base if we can show na the pole is part of the flag. Okay? So in this particular case, si pole is parang it forms one of the edges sa flag, no? So automatic itong si flag, regardless of kung ano yung orientation niya, no? Kunwari, yung flag natin will be oriented this way. Parang nakaganyan siya. Kung naka-orient that way ang flag, kahit ganyan pa rin, kahit ganyan yung orientation niya, it's still perpendicular, no? And we can show na kahit pa ganyan siya, perpendicular pa rin. That will be two perpendicular lines pa rin siya. Right? So, with that said, what we need to prove is, kailangan, one, there is a line contained in one of the planes that can be shown to be truly perpendicular to the other plane. And the way we prove that a line is perpendicular to the other plane is to find two non-parallel lines contained in the given plane. Tama? So, siguro, this might get confusing kasi parang ang daming parang lines and planes na sinasabi ko. Pero you can do it step by step, no? So, one, let's say let's assign them a number, no, plane 1 and plane 2. So we need to find a line. The line must be, or sige, sabihin natin line 2, line 1 must be contained in plane 1. So yun yung first step. Then second step is to prove that line 1 is perpendicular to plane 2, right? So if we can prove that line 1 is perpendicular to plane 2, then automatic plane 1 is perpendicular to plane 2. But how do we prove that line 1 is perpendicular to plane 2? We prove it by showing that line 1 is perpendicular to line 2 and is also perpendicular to line 3. And line 2 and 3 are non-parallel, uh, non-parallel, and at the same time contained in plane 2. Okay? So I hope that makes more sense, no? Kung if I laid it out this way. So para mas concrete yung steps na iti-take nyo, no? So you find one line contained in plane 1. You prove that that line 1 is perpendicular, truly perpendicular to plane 2. And if you can prove that, then automatic plane 1 and plane 2 are perpendicular. How you prove line 1 is perpendicular to plane 2 is through this series of steps, no? Which is the same as kung ano yung ginawa natin dito. Right? So, how do you want to do this? Itong example na to. Should we prove that there is a line contained in 1, 2 that is perpendicular to ABC, or should we prove that there is a line contained in ABC that is perpendicular to 1, 2, 3? It wouldn't really matter, no? Same lang yung sagot na makukuha natin. Okay? So, kayo, suggestion. Where should we find the line? 1, 2, 3 or ABC? 1, 2 since EV na siya. You mean true length, no? Tama. Shane. Okay, so let's do 1, 2, 3. So, gusto natin i-prove na si 1, 2 or there is a line in 1, 2, 3 that is already perpendicular, or para mas maganda, there is a line in ABC that is truly perpendicular to the plane 1, 2, 3 kasi si plane 1, 2, 3 meron na siyang isang TL na agad. Okay? So, parang ganun yung sinasabi ni Shane. Okay, so let's do that. So, let's find a line in ABC that is truly perpendicular to plane 1, 2, 3. So, we first get to. So, we know that 1, 2 is perpendicular to, no, sorry. We know that 1, 2 is a true length, no? So, that's our first true length. Tapos, show natin, no? Kung true length to, then therefore, kung totoong perpendicular talaga to si ABC to 1, 2, 3, meron isang line dyan out of the infinite number of lines that are contained in ABC. Isa dyan will be truly perpendicular to this TL right here. Tama? So, if that's the case, then I can just do this, no? We can do something like ganyan. And we form a perpendicular line, no? And turns out itong si BC, so if I extend this, no? Turns out itong si BC is perpendicular to our true length 1, 2, 3. But it could be any line, no? Hindi necessary na si BC yung ano. Pwede actually ito. This could be our line. We could create kunwari XY. Okay? Pero since conveniently part of the edge na siya, and again, ES1, mas matipid sa steps, mas okay, no? Mas less prone to error. So, gagamitin natin si BC. So, we need to prove, we already proved na itong si TL na to is perpendicular to BC. Therefore, dapat if truly perpendicular to BC will be perpendicular to another true length dito. Okay? So, let's choose another true length. And for simplicity, let's just do 2, 2 prime, no? Mas madali yun. If we do 2, 2 prime, again, tipid tayo sa steps. 2 prime is along 1, 3. Therefore, dapat dito siya. Yeah. If it is true that this plane is perpendicular to plane 1, 2, 3, then dapat, if I were to extend this, perpendicular dapat itong ito. Perpendicular dapat si 2, 2 prime, which is a true length, doon sa BC. Okay? So, let's formulate our proof, no? So, BC is perpendicular to 1, 2, which is TL in HRP. Okay? That's our first proof. BC is also perpendicular to 2, 2 prime, which is TL in our ano ba tawag? BC in FRP. Therefore, BC is perpendicular to 1, 2, 3. Tama? Is perpendicular to 1, 2, 3. And we know that BC, and actually nag-skip ako, no? Hindi ko na sinulat yung 1, 2 and 2, 2 prime is contained in 1, 2, 3. Pero sige, I can write that down para mas malinaw yung explanation natin, no? 1, 2 and 2, 2 prime are contained in triangle 1, 2, 3. Therefore, BC is perpendicular to 1, 2, 3. BC is contained in triangle ABC, and therefore, it should be logical that ABC is also perpendicular to triangle 1, 2, 3. Okay? So, does that make sense? Medyo mahaba yung proof natin, no? Make sense ba? Yan, may mga na tayo. Thank you for the feedback. Nina, tapos what about the others? Jana, Jayana. Okay. So thank you. So again, if I were to mark down kung ano yung parang yung parang bare minimum, parang ito no 1, 2, and 3. Ito lang actually. Parang enough na yun. Minsan kailangan pala to. So 3 and 4. I think that's the bare minimum, no? Para ma-prove mo na, no? So, ito, skip mo yung is contained, are contained. Yeah. Right? So, let's try another example. Using the given plane below, draw a plane that is perpendicular to 1, 2, 3. And what happens to plane ABC if you get the true size of the plane 1, 2, 3? Okay, so ito na last na gagawin natin. Ito yung sinasabi ko no na instead of parang proving that one plane is perpendicular or one line is perpendicular, most of the time at least sa mga problems is instead of proving, gagawa ka ng plane that is given this certain conditions. So try natin gumawa. So we want that gusto natin mag-construct ng isang plane ABC so that it is perpendicular to 1, 2, 3. So the best way to do that is to just construct to pick pili tayo ng isang edge from the plane and let's prove it to be perpendicular to, actually para mas madali, if the easiest way to go about this is we pick one of the edges dito sa plane 1, 2, 3. Tapos, i-show natin na perpendicular siya to the two edges of ABC. Tama? So, parang ang gagawin natin is, parang pili tayo ng, parang in this particular case, parang CB, tapos i-show natin na si CB is perpendicular to two true lengths contained in ABC. Okay? So, at least, there are many ways to do this problem, class, no? Pero, in my mind, that is the easiest way to do it, no? So, gagawin natin is, let's just pick 1, 3. So, I'll choose 1, 3. So, dapat, If I have 1, 3, parang ganyan. So, this is arbitrary lang to class, no? Yung, ano. So, 1, 3, let's make it perpendicular to a, parang ganyan. And let's call this as, this is perpendicular, no? And let's just say na ito ay si A and B, right? A and B. Tapos, para totoo to, and this is not a true length, no? So, para totoo yung relationship, dapat ito, i-force natin na maging true length. Tama? And how do we make this AB a true length? We make it true length by building it in such a way na si AB is parallel dito. Tama? So, if I do AB parallel dito, then sure ako na true length na tong si, ano dito, si AB. Okay? Now, let's construct another one. Sabi natin si 1, 3 yung ginamit natin, no? 1, 3 should be also perpendicular to another true length dito. So, ang natira na lang is C, no? Si point C. So, if I take 1, 3, and from that 1, 3, I build a perpendicular line. Lagay natin dito. Somewhere dyan. Oh, no, sorry. Kailangan siya magdaan pala dito. So, parang ganyan. I can stop there, no? Pero, let's stop. Parang pangit ng ginawa ko kasi masyado maliit yung triangle. Pero mag-work pa rin naman siya. It's just that na OOC ako nung kasi masyadong maliit. Would it be better if we choose another sige, ituloy ko lang to ha, just to show na pwede siya. Pero let's try to build another one na pili tayo ng isang mas magandang line. So if I do this, mangyari dito class is I pick this on C, kumari C, ganyan. So yan yung plane ko. And BC should be perpendicular to itong 1, 3. And I want BC to be true length, no? And to make BC true length, dapat si C should be located parallel to or in the same distance to the reference plane as B para maging true length siya. So if I do this, this is now my plane. Sure ako na this plane ABC is perpendicular to plane 1 to 3 because 1, 3 is perpendicular to BC, which is true length. Tapos 1, 3 is also perpendicular to AB, which is also in true length. Okay? Pero I'm not satisfied no kasi parang nipis ng triangle. Pangit siya tingnan. So let's try to build another one. No? So instead of choosing 1, 3, let's choose a more, I don't know. Ayan, itong si 2, 3. I think 2, 3 would be a good candidate. No? So let's do 2, 3. So we'll just do the same steps, no? But instead of 1, 3, ang gagamitin natin is si 2, 3. I think 2, 3 will generate a more reasonable na ano, no? So, ano yan? Tapos, ano lang natin dito. Okay? So, let's just say na AC to. Also, AB muna. Okay? We do AB. And AB must be true length dito, no? Pero hindi ko na i-ano class, no? Extend. Gawin ko na lang na ganyan. Okay? So, AB should be true length and therefore kung true length siya, dapat pag binaba ko to dito, they should be parallel. Tama? Para sure tayo na true length ito si AB. So, we have A and B. Now, si 2, 3 should be shown to be perpendicular to yung isang line natin. It could be AC or BC, doesn't really matter. Pero it should be perpendicular to at least one of the lines contained in the ano, no? And it's just easier na you use the edges, no, para mas tipid kayo sa ano. So, if I do 2, 3 here, kasi 2, 3, then, ganyan, I can have This is perpendicular. Okay, so hindi ko na siya extend. So this is a perpendicular line right here. So should I build a large? Let's build a reasonably sized. So lagay ko na lang dito si C. This is C. If I connect this, I now have A, B, C. Tapos ang gawin natin is, para sure tayo na si C is true length, itong AC na to, true length, then we need to do parallel line. C. So we have successfully constructed plane ABC such that ABC is perpendicular to 1 to 3. And we can write our proofs, no? Ito, i-shortcut ko lang because I'm pressed for time right now. We have 1, 3 is perpendicular to AB, which is TL in HRP. Tapos 1, 3 is also perpendicular to AC, which is TL in FRP. Tama? And therefore, um, 1 therefore 1, 3 is perpendicular to triangle ABC, and therefore triangle 1, 2, 3 is perpendicular to triangle ABC. Okay, so sinortcut ko na class, hindi ko na sinama yung mga is contained, yung mga ganun. Okay, so napoprove natin na 1, 2, 3 and ABC are perpendicular to each other. Now, using the what happens to plane ABC if you get the true size of plane 1, 2, 3, and you will parang imagine it from this one, no? Yung sinabi natin flagpole and the flag. So kung ito yung base, tapos ito yung flagpole natin, tapos ito yung flag. If we look at the true size of this base right here, kung titingnan natin from the top, you'll notice na si flag will appear as an edge view. Okay? And similarly, kung true size naman natin si flag, so kunwari ito siya, and kunwari ito yung flagpole natin, nandito si flag, tingnan natin siya in its true size, makikita natin na si base will actually appear as an edge view. Tama? If they are truly perpendicular to each other. Right? So dapat it makes sense na if we try to do the steps, no, we will produce a edge view and a true size. And let's sige, for the sake of completing this, let's try to complete it now. Do this. So I can actually just translate this, no? I can move this around because the relationship still remains the same, no? Regardless if I move it around. So ginalaw ko lang siya para mas malaki yung space na available sa akin. I'll just move it somewhere there. Itong AC will still be perpendicular to 2, 3, no? Ay, sorry. Bakit 1, 3 nilagay ko? 2, 3 dapat to, no? Tama? This is supposed to be 2, 3. Kasi 2, 3 yung pinili natin. Okay? So let's try natin i-true size itong si ABC. So how do we get the true size of ABC? We already have a true length. So if we take the point view of that true length, then we should get the true size. No, sorry. Magiging edge view pala siya. So to get the true length of ABC, medyo malayo pala, no? Kasi kailangan dumaan tayo sa point view and edge view. So hindi ko na lang ipapakita ngayon. So I'm sorry, I have to go, no? So hindi ko muna ipapakita ngayon, pero mapapalit ako. Sige, i-ano na natin. Feel ko kaya naman natin matapos. Hindi, may time pa ako. Okay? So let's try to finish this, no? Draw a plane ABC that is given to. So kaya natin, no? So daan tayo sa edge view, tas after edge view, punta tayo sa true size. Tama? So to get the edge view, i-point view natin ang isang true length. Tama? So if we point view, we get the point view, and work tayo from FRP kasi yun yung pinaka-convenient sa atin. No? So ganyan. So project natin. Dapat mag-edge view na to. No? Okay. And do I even have enough space? That is the question. Move ko lang to. Para makukulangan ako sa space. Pero anyway. So, let's do... no, sorry. Okay, mas madali pala. Ang sabi pala is i-true size natin si 1, 2, 3. This will be much easier, no? Kasi if you get the true size of plane 1, 2, 3, si ABC dapat yung magiging edge view. Okay, so let's get the true size. And to get the true size of ABC, we just do, ito yung easiest way to do it, no? So we do 1, 1 prime. Tapos we project 1 prime down along 2, 3 siya. This is 1, 1 prime right here. And this is now true length. And we can do a perpendicular reference plane now. So if we do a perpendicular reference plane, perpendicular to the true length, I should say, no? Then we should project this line right here. Project natin siya in its edge view. True size. Ay, ganun din. Sige, okay lang. Project natin siya in its edge view. Then after edge view, let's do true size. Okay, let's do... Yan. So, medyo bilisan ko lang ito, class. And I hope I have enough space. Kung wala, i-move ko na lang. Okay. So, let's take my compass. Tapos, compass, 1, 2, 3 muna tayo, no? 1, 2, 3. So, compass. So, let's do 1. 1, 2, 2. Where's 2? Dito. And just, ano class, if I make a mistake, i-point out nyo agad para makorek ko agad. 2, 3. Oop. Masyado malaki. 3. And 3 is this one. Okay. And nag-form naman siya ng straight line. No? So, nag-form naman siya ng straight line. So, this is edge view right here. And let's do the 1, 2, see ano naman, ABC. So, we do A. A is here. Then we do B. B is this one. Oh. B, where's B? This projection line right here. Then we have C last na. C. C is nasan si C. This projection line. C. Yeah. So, ang gagawin natin is We now project, we take a reference plane that is parallel to the edge view, no, to get the true size. So, yan. So we do a reference plane here. Let's project natin. And let me just erase some of these lines. No? Project natin pataas. A, C, no? C and tama ba? B. And project 2. No, sorry. Dapat dito lang dito. 2. Ito ay hindi. 1 dito si 1. 1. And last is 3. Ito si 3. Okay. Um, let's go. So 1, 2 dito tayo. So ABC muna tayo. So we have A, B is this distance right here. Tama? Where's B? B to. Tapos C. And dapat tama ginawa natin. Etong C will produce a line that is edge view dapat. So let's check. Kasi C, no? And mukhang tama naman. Ayun. Swak. Yan, edge view siya. So it's always satisfying class, no, when you when you do it correctly. Parang there's a certain level of satisfaction na nakukuha kayo. So yun, ABC. Tapos let's do etong last na si edge view ni A edge view ni 1, 2, 3, no? This is 1, 2, 3. So let's copy the distances. I'll just clean this up later, no, before uploading para makita. Although hindi ko na kailangan tapusin to, no? Parang tama ba? Okay lang ba? Hindi ko na tatapusin in this lesson right here kasi na-show naman natin na pagka ginawa natin true size itong si 1, 2, 3, automatic mag-edge view si perpendicular plane, no? Tama? And ito, sure naman tayo mag-true size siya dito sa side na to, no? Kasi parallel naman siya eh. Okay, so okay lang ba? Hindi na natin tapusin pero once I upload this, ipapakita ko with the finalized na answer na. So nag-feedback si Ninya ba yun? Thank you for the feedback. Jaina also agrees. And I'm assuming si Paulo also agrees. So thank you for coming in today. And si Shane nawala pero thank you din Shane for coming in today. So I'll see you next week. Next week na class, no? So hopefully, wait, next week is MR. MR na, no? Our scheduled MR is March 15. So during MR week, wala tayong classes. So hindi tayo mag-hold ng class. So good luck sa MR, incoming MR. I hope you do well class. Tapos just ano no, study hard. Tapos siguro read the notes that I will be sending you. It might be helpful. Um, um, siguro makakatulong naman siguro yun sa inyo. And thank you again for coming in today. See you when I see you. Mag-announce na lang ako kung ano yung next ano natin. Next na class. Okay? Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
All right.